Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Now, speaking of Patreon, I'm going to shout out all of the people who actually support me there. So a massive shout out to Alistair, Billy Highvault. Oh, I'm going to have to move my mic and get closer to the screen. Dank. Burn fat till my stomach is as flat as the earth. Chow Young Cat. David Wayne Foster. Big shout out to you. Edwin Johnson. Massive shout out to you. Felix Hung. Fireball X. God Rockin. Jeranism. Kirsten Smith. Life is Short. Matt. Michael. Paige. Guitar Craig. Oh, is that another one? Oh no, Reinhardt. Renee. Sam Hine. Getting to the end. Sweet Equity. Texas Mike. TheFlatEarthChannel.com, and last but by no means least, Tina Baker. So a massive shout out to all of you who support me on Patreon. We are joined by a few people in both Discord and in Google Plus, I believe. Hello, who we've got Flatzoid and 10th Man, I believe. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be.
Somewhere in a flat plane, I suggest.
Quite excited today with it's like Christmas. It's actually my birthday on Tuesday, but not that that's the reason I've got all my equipment back. So I had some amplifiers. I still have got one that's broken, but the main one that I used like for most of the show I've been without, which is very frustrating. But it came back yesterday, happy days. And then I've also been talking to a dealer about buying a projector, and the one I wanted to buy or agreed to buy when I had the money to buy it sold. So I was like, okay, fine. And I carried on spending money on the car that I bought and then ran out of money, as you do. And then he contacted me and said, there's another one here. I'm like, okay, well, I do definitely need it. The one that I've got is about to die. So he sent it me without actually charging me. So presumably he's going to be billed by the manufacturer and then he'll bill me, or he'll want my money. No, I've got it and it's working. But nevertheless, I haven't actually paid for it. But great news, new screen. So it means all my stuff, I've already started laying it out, which is why I've started this show. Not that you know that watching it, but I've started this show a little bit early, just so I can fiddle with it live and make sure it's all running. So if there's dead air to the people watching on Nathan Oakley 1980, I'm really sorry. It's just the way it's going to have to be. I've got a new piece of equipment, and typically the Uncut and After Show goes out on my second channel. And if you're not subscribed to my second channel, there's a link in the info box. Go and subscribe to Nathan Oakley, where the Uncut and After Show typically broadcasts Monday to Friday. Anywho.
There was quite a few people watching last night with Quantum Eraser's channel.
Yeah, it got up to about 150 people at one stage, and for pretty much the whole show there's about 120, 130 people watching, which was nice. It was good to have it launched as it should be. Ballbusters is live on Saturday. So when's this going out? This is actually going out on Saturday to the Nathan Oakley audience, pretty much after Ballbusters. So this goes out at 10 o'clock and Ballbusters goes out 2 hours earlier on Quantum Eraser channel. So again, if you've not subscribed already to Quantum Eraser channel, go and subscribe, as it's the new home. And I've been realistically, the actual only ever home of Ballbusters was going to be Quantum Eraser channel, and that's where it is. So you need to be here or be Sphere, subscribe to Quantum Eraser channel, and watch it before you watch this, because that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
It makes a lot of sense.
Say that again, Flatzoid.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, this is a recording that goes out on Saturday, so it goes out at 10, Ballbusters goes out at 8. Obviously, this is after that's actually gone out. So
no, what are you talking about? People are hearing it now.
Go and subscribe if you're in the audience.
It's a bending of time-space. We're doing it in the rear.
There's a bit of time dilation going on here.
It's manifesting itself.
There's no forces involved, just recording and then playing it at a later time. That's it.
Just think of it as that.
It's not that complicated. Yeah, I'm chuffed a bit. So I've now got 4 times. It's like having 3 extra screens. That's what it's like. It's a 4K projector, and it is as advertised. I've never used one, so I didn't really know what I'd be getting. I hoped it would be like having 3 extra screens, and it is. I've got all of the stuff I use.
So you can actually see the names now.
No, they're smaller. That was to be expected. I mean, where what goes where, chances are I'll just struggle as much as I did with reading out the names of the people from Patreon, because I'll put it on my normal, whatever you call it, 1080p 1080 resolution screen that's closer to me but smaller. I'll do that and just do what I've been doing, move the mic closer so I can actually read them a bit quicker than I did today. But I'm just trying it out. Like I say, I'm trying to figure out what will be best suited on what screen. Some things you don't need to read the text, like the live stream feed. I just need to see that it's working. And same goes for Skype. Typically it's doing nothing, but then somebody will ring on it and you're like, bloody hell, where the hell is it? And you're trying to shut it off. Yeah,
so am I to understand that every piece of equipment, that which was being fixed and that which you wanted to buy, is all in-house now?
I didn't quite catch that. You're a bit quiet in Google, unfortunately, 10th man. Say that again.
Oh, I said, am I to understand that every piece of equipment that you had out there getting fixed is back in-house now, as well as the projector?
That's correct. So my youngest, I was talking to her, not that she can understand me, and saying, today is the day that something that typically worked perfectly will break. So, because everything's working, I said it's probably about 5 years since this was the last time that I had everything working. And that's typically when, like I say, something that you don't think about very much because it's typically just worked every time you've turned it on. That's the thing that will break today. Sod's law.
You're gonna have to do shows where you don't have to demonstrate entropy all the time. Come on, Nate.
That's what I said to my daughter. I was like, yeah, unfortunately, this is where something breaks. It's called entropy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything seeks equilibrium, so.
That too.
Equilibrium for a projector is a pending explosion.
Yeah, it goes back into non-existence.
Yeah, or lots of little glass pieces spread all over the inside of a plastic box.
Yeah, it transforms.
This has gone amazingly well. I just guessed that if OBS was to see a new 4K signal, it would just take the top left quadrant, and it did. So I didn't even have to adjust anything on OBS. I just literally moved everything to the top left-hand corner of the screen, leaving me with obviously 3/4 of that same screen real estate left to play with. I'm just so over the moon. I can see everything. It's ace. I'm not flicking between it. At this point, normally I'd be flicking between them all, and I don't need to do anything.
With your new getup, with your new setup, you can put your Xbox in and play some games while you broadcast.
I'm not interested in that. I mean, I've bought games not for that reason. I mean, the last time I bought games was purely to benchmark my overclock on this computer about 5 or 6 years ago. I just wanted to make sure it worked correctly and was stable. So the way to do that, you can do it synthetically, but the way to really do it is to just buy a very high-powered game and run it. So what I did was bought, I remember what it's called, Battlefield or something like that, and just ran around the map, obviously dying, but hopefully trying to push the equipment to that wasn't the purpose. It wasn't done for fun. I'm being serious. It wasn't literally done for fun. It was done to make sure that the overclock was stable. So that's what I did, and I used a couple of different games, one that was a bit more CPU intensive, the other that was more GPU intensive, and I'm glad I did, because now having upped the monitor resolution, not that it's particularly tasking on the graphics card, but it just works. So I'm pleased that the computer's set up the way it is. It's now old, but very well set up because of things like that. Because I'm a gamer, but I know how to overclock a computer.
Just don't overheat it.
It's passively cooled. Typically speaking, there are fans in it, but they're all off. So the CPU itself doesn't even have a fan on it. So there is no CPU fan, literally none. It's just a heatsink.
Yeah, because I overclocked to one of my PCs long time ago, and I was still learning, and I forgot to put an extra fan. I ended up burning the whole motherboard.
Oh yeah, it can get proper toasty. I mean, I've set the limits of what I want it to heat up to and stuff again many years ago, but it's only recently Apple have just released a computer, like a proper desktop computer, and it's passively cooled, and essentially that's what I was aiming for. So one of the reasons I've got a good graphics card again isn't necessarily because I want to drive it hard; it's because I want to drive it not hard and have the fans not come on. So in other words, when you're driving something like a couple of monitors, I'm not challenging the good graphics card at all, and therefore the fans aren't coming on, and it's just passively cooled. Same goes for the CPU. There's no fan on it at all to come on, therefore the computer has no fans running. Well, the idea was it's going to be used for, at the time, my idea was for home cinema. You don't want it to make a noise. Obviously, that's directly translated into very useful for streaming. Yesterday there's a rackety old projector making a load of noise. Today silence. It's absolutely you can probably hear from my voice, I'm really chuffed. There's no noise, the computer's quiet, the projector's nigh on silent. I'm over the moon.
Yeah, it's much better. We're not on the Spaceship Enterprise anymore.
Yeah, every time I spoke you'd hear that's what I had to sit listening to for the entire show. You're like, oh bloody hell, this projector, every time I turned it on I'm like, Jesus, come on, please work. And then it worked. You're like, God, it's so noisy.
It's funny to hear you say you're over the moon.
I'm over the moon. Metaphorically speaking.
Are you making a claim?
Oh gosh. There'll be the next thing from NASA will be a close up of moon craters, and they'll show Nathan Oakley working on his computer in one of the craters. Oh gosh.
Did you guys hear how Spurs talks Russian?
No.
He talks quite well.
Well, he does do that for sure.
Yeah.
Talk, 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 talk.
That isn't suspicious. I don't know what is.
Yeah, you can.
Yes, Spurs speaks very good Russian. Is that so?
Agent Dubinsky.
Yes, he does talk very good Russian. Yes?
Yes, he is KGB now.
Yes.
Da?
That would explain the pressure.
Paul, you're going to jump in on this one?
Oh yeah, I was listening. I'm sorry, I was trying to change a diaper this morning. So,
More than we need to know.
Yeah, more information need to know. I was actually. Did you hear Ranty and that little show Ranty did with Spurs and
No.
Anthony yesterday?
I heard a little bit of it, the start of it.
Well, I tried to jump in on it a little bit, but I'm just going to forewarn. David's got a formula for this temperature thing. Is if you can disprove the formula, here you go. And then I will concede if you can disprove this formula. I'm like, oh, great. Here we go.
So wait a minute. So he begs the question with a formula that's supposed to be so correct that we have to break it to prove him wrong.
Right. And he basically has, the formula is temperature equals force over negative force. That's the formula.
What is like entropy?
Hang on.
I mean,
so we're back to a mathematical equation to describe our nature.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. And force Rotherham was actually trying to get him to do what we've done, define temperature, and he kept kind of evading it. And he would define it, but then it was the same old rhetoric. So I'm just going to forewarn if he shows up today, that might be something we're going to have to deal with.
I'll just tell him it's a thought experiment like Einstein did.
It can manifest itself as true.
He says temperature is a force. That's what he's saying now.
Who's tapping? Someone's tapping. Who's tapping?
It's not me.
Not me. I have no idea what noise it is.
Somebody who was tapping stopped when asked.
I'm folding up some milk cartons. I don't know if that was making a tapping sound. Is Discord on yet? So maybe somebody in Discord.
Yeah, there's a couple of people in Discord. Now somebody's making.
Someone's
that's you,
washing.
Isn't it,
Oh, that's me. I'm
Yeah.
washing. Here, I'll go mute.
Okay. Now someone's scratching something.
Oh, sorry, that's me. I'm busy with the engine.
So it's been flat soy the whole time.
That's what you've been blaming Paul all this time.
No, I just kept quiet.
Yeah, but you're scratching an engine as if it had an itch.
But I didn't was tapping. I was scratching. It's two different. I'll put the mic a bit further.
Next time, use sandpaper to scratch the engine, not the mic.
I'll use a finer paper this time.
I'll just blow my nose at the same time and blame everybody.
Is it better now?
Yeah, I can. We're just having fun right now anyway. It doesn't matter. It's better than going through some mathematical equation about the temperature.
I've realized something. We haven't seen Brenda for a long time.
Well, that's not a loss of information. I'll tell you that much.
Nope.
Well, and she was on the show yesterday and got triggered very badly. So very, very badly. So Ranty, that's the one Ranty did yesterday. It was it happened pretty late. It was late in the evening yesterday.
I thought
I just happened to catch it.
I thought the whole idea of Ranty shows for civility.
Well, right the hand kind of triggered Brenda by calling her an it. So it triggered her very bad.
Oh.
She went off the deep end.
Yeah, he doesn't have to do that.
Yeah. Instead of him apologizing, he just made it worse. So
can I, just for the audience's benefit while you're chatting away, I'm going to show you what I mean by having 4 times the real estate. So if I transition, so that's what you can see on screen now. None of you listening to me saying this can see this, so just don't ask. But obviously, if I move my mouse, can I see it? Here we go. So this is what you get. This is 1080p's worth of resolution, which is typically what most people have got on their phones or monitors. I know a lot of people have got better, but I'm just saying that's typically what most people use, 1080p. And because it's 4K, I've got all of this over here to have all of this stuff over here. So my Skype and my desk and all of the names that I've just read out. So that's why it's useful to have more screen real estate. And I just wanted to show it off just because I'm so chuffed with it. There we go. That's all.
That's all.
Let's have a what is technology show today.
Just don't say it's science.
No, just say what is. It's a what is.
Because you know more.
That's interesting. Another topic that came up yesterday on the Discord, I think on the after show, after everybody dropped out. Truth Lover actually admitted that it's not about causes as long as it works. And he was talking about technology, And of course, Zanuck was, I think I talked to Tenth Man a little bit about it. Zanuck, we're talking about inertial forces, and the pseudo forces, and I said, well, ultimately you can't determine the cause in the inertial reference frames or non-inertial reference frames. You have to be outside of it to see see what's causing it. But if you're in it, you won't know, and there's really no experiment to show that we're moving. Ultimately, because you have to be exterior to outside of this reference frame to be able to determine what's moving and what's not. And of course, it evolved. It was pretty funny. Talking about Coriolis effect, and they admitted on the show on that Discord that a pilot moving north to south does not account for Coriolis. It's so minute that they don't account for it. I was like, then if you don't account for it, then it's not there. And they didn't like that. It was pretty funny.
No, they won't like it. And by the way, Tent, that reference frame with the train thing I said, I actually got the Glober at the end of the day to agree with me.
Which was what?
That on Master B, I put that trying to dumb it down with the train with the 2 reference frames.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually gave it to that guy, like the Glober, and he actually end of the day actually agreed with me.
Just the whole, as we've been going in circles and having a few times where Glober tries to jump in on the subject, just to even have Coriolis, it's obvious it's got to be more than one reference frame. They have to admit to this. They have to admit to this. You can't have Coriolis without a second reference frame. So they have to own that. If they're going to say there's Coriolis, they have to own that.
Yeah, you see, because they're always jumping to conservation of momentum. And that's why I made that type of example.
Well, fine. Define conservation of momentum. You still are saying we experience Coriolis with a bullet.
Exactly.
So
that's my whole point.
Please apply conservation of momentum as that bullet comes out at 1,500 to 3,200 feet per second out of the chamber. Define it now.
Define, please. I'm going to do what they do, just obfuscate.
No, it's nonsense.
Yeah. No, I understand.
No, there's eventually you just have to say you lose the argument because you can't stay within the actual debate.
Yeah.
You're saying that there's Coriolis, and you have to admit to two reference frames. And then when we ask if the Earth is spinning under a bullet, it should be spinning under everything else that's free flying. They start making, it's conservation of momentum. You got a discount ticket. You're at the back of the plane, so you can't see it from there. All kinds of stuff comes out.
Yeah, but they're just parroting what they learn, so that's all.
Well, this is the closest we are to waking them up then by saying, okay, think of what you're saying and think instead of parrot. Just don't parrot, think.
Yeah.
Use your brain. See, I've had to deal with this with my Christian beliefs, because people say, "Oh, you only believe in your Christianity because you just use faith." And I said, "No. The Bible says to use reason, use your mind. You cannot have faith if your mind is arguing with it all day long."
Yeah, no, agreed.
See, so this is why Jesus says, "Hey, at least believe what I'm saying based on the miracles. Believe me for what I'm doing." So he would say all these things and prove it through his miracles so that they would have reason to have faith. You see?
Yeah.
If you don't have reasons for faith, you can't have real faith. Your mind won't let you. You can't sleep at night.
Yeah, you're either hot or cold.
Yeah, your mind will not let you. If in my mind I knew Jesus Christ is not real and his existence is fake, how can I have faith? It'd be impossible.
Yeah, you're just going to be doubting the whole time.
Or faking it.
Yeah, it's true. Wow, we're very lively today.
That's all right. Nathan's playing with his new toys right now.
Playing Minecraft.
Hey, it's his birthday. He's trying everything out. Give him a break.
Isn't it in 2 days?
No, Tuesday. Tuesday was his birthday.
Was.
I'm just moving stuff around.
Sure, you're probably running away in some video game.
Definitely not.
I got that building. Yes, I was left.
You're just not trying to get killed. Come on, Nathan.
There was a new series, to go back to the topic you were just talking about. There was a series on Amazon Prime called The Boys, and it's about these guys that are trying to take out these bad, corrupt superheroes. And there was a scene where one of the episodes talked about Christian faith, and if you watch it, it was like that's traditionally how the world thinks about Christianity, is that faith and belief is without evidence. Mm-hmm. And that's what they were basically communicating. And I go, no, and this is sad, because that's what they were portraying with how the world sees us, and it's not true. It was just sad. So.
Well, actually, that's exactly what we're saying about the globetards. Your belief in the sphere is without evidence, and they can't prove it.
No, it's actually just a belief. That's all. There's nothing to back it at all.
Now think about it. What you just said and what I just said. If you can show me Coriolis, and you can show me all of the 7 housekeeping questions, disprove it so that we can come to the obvious place where we can say, wow, here's the evidence for a globe. We'd all be globers, but they can't even do one of them.
Yeah, well, I'm here on the, if you're begging the question, in the southern hemisphere. If I had to shoot a bullet, it's definitely not going up.
Oh, what's all that noise? Is that you, Paul?
No, that was me sneezing. Sorry, I covered up my mic as well.
Okay.
Go on, Flatso. You were saying you shoot a
I was
bullet?
saying, if we had to beg the question, I am in the southern hemisphere.
Yeah.
Every time I've shot a bullet, it's definitely not gone opposite way. That's for sure.
It's not a smart bullet.
And I mean, I started shooting when I was 7, so.
Yeah, well, you got to beg the question. There's an equator, then you got to beg the question north and south, then you got to beg the question Earth is spinning west to east. You got so many begging, you're broke by the end of the day. It's like yesterday's show on Quantum Eraser, back to basics. The Earth is observed, obviously, flat. It's observably flat.
And motionless.
Yes, and from our perspective, no one would ever say the Earth is spinning, and no one could say the Earth is spinning. When you look up, you say, oh, the clouds are moving. The sun, the moon, and stars are moving. But you never say the Earth is moving until they program it into your head that we're spinning. But then you say, how come I don't feel the spin? And then here comes the double speak.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's why the reference frame issues, even the space program, is necessary for that belief, because technically, if space is real and they're shooting all these rockets out into space and they're orbiting and doing all this stuff, then they're actually stepping outside of the reference frame, and they're saying, "Look, the Earth is spinning. We can see it." You know.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So it's the space program is needed for that belief as well. You know, not just the
So it works against them,
picture.
right? You're saying it works against them.
Right.
Yeah, well,
Because
if you're lying, you're not going to be able to have it right all the time. So somewhere there has to be a fault.
I just, based on what you just said, Paul, what is that noise?
I don't know.
Is that you, Flatside?
No, I'm sitting normal now.
Oh.
Well, every time I do something, I go mute. So if I'm working on back here, if I'm working, I go mute. So it's not me.
From the ISS or one of these phony space shots, they show the Earth spinning with no stars behind it. Then they show Earth spinning with stars behind it. Then they show Earth spinning with clouds not moving. Then they show Earth spinning with clouds moving. Which one is it? I'm tired.
And then they take photos with the exact same cloud formation at a different time.
Yeah, but if the atmosphere is stuck to the Earth, it should be spinning one and all same reference, right?
Yeah. But I was thinking, if the ISS is falling so quickly, then how is it that a geocentric satellite is orbiting at the same speed of Earth? How is that falling at a different speed as the ISS?
I'm not following.
The satellites, they say, is what?
Well, 17,500 is the number that comes to
with
mind.
the ISS, yeah, with the ISS. But
Are you saying the satellites are the same?
They're saying the satellites are falling at the same speed of Earth.
Oh,
Okay.
So how can the one
geostationary.
fall faster and the one fall slower?
Yeah, you're talking about geosynchronous slash
that one, yes.
geostationary. It used to be called geostationary, but that's a bit telling, right? So now it's geosynchronous.
Yeah, because I made a video the other day on it's all land based, and everybody's just going on to me. No, it's all geostationary and geocentric. But I mean, if you look at the satellite maps, everything's pointing to one place, so it doesn't make sense.
Well, something about the geostationary orbit, this is what they would argue, and I've actually got in learning this from just more dialogue with people. The satellite is moving at the same angular speed as the Earth. So ground angular speed, it's the same. But obviously tangential speed is different. If you understand the difference between the two of those.
Explain.
Well, it's or more like rim velocity. So the satellite, to maintain its synchronous orbit, would have to move faster since it's further out, to maintain that speed because it's having to cover more ground.
So
But angular,
it's the edge of the roundabout, basically.
right? Yeah, right. Like if you put a dime on the inside of the roundabout, and it's still making a circuit, but you put a dime on the outside of the roundabout, the angular speed is the same, but the actual rim velocity is more. Like the outer dime is moving at more as a faster speed than the one on the inside, but angular speed it's the same.
But even that alone then debunks the spinning of the Earth, because I'm definitely not spinning faster here. I mean, you'll be able to feel the difference if you're going from the outer rims to the inner rims, isn't it?
Well, that's what they say. They say if you flew from, say, someplace north, based on the globe model, say Alaska or something, and you go to the equator and you get off the plane, your body should feel the difference of the rotation if the Earth was rotating, because it'd be much slower in Alaska than it is at the equator.
I must be superhuman. I never feel that problem.
You're probably just cooling off in a borehole and can't tell. I'm not going to let that go. Oh my gosh. You just there with your flat Earth manifesto and you can't even feel the turn.
Nope.
Oh gosh. That was so much fun with this topic.
I wonder if a globe is going to try to come on today.
I hope so.
Yeah, man, I love your puns. They're so good. They're so funny.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
I'm usually laughing on Master B with all your comments.
Well, it's my mind thinks in pictures. I always think in pictures. So when you say a word, I see 10 pictures for that word. And they're different pictures. And then the pun just comes.
10th man, the punerator.
Punerator. Like someone says, you keep punning. And I go, yeah, especially on fourth down. And they go, what? I go, football. You punt on fourth down. They go, oh my gosh. I could never remember a joke when I was younger, so I resorted to punning.
See the wind.
I'll let you guys know. I'm actually going on vacation next week, so I may not be on very much next week. We're going to go to the beach.
Awesome.
All right.
Have you got a camera?
Yeah, I have a P900, so I'll probably take it with me and see what I can do.
Awesome. Yeah, because I'm probably going down to Cape Town to visit my folks in December. I'm probably going to go on Table Mountain and take some observations as well.
Yeah, I've seen Table Mountain. My perspective has a lot of pictures of Table Mountain.
I mean, I can see, let's say, even if I'm standing on the beach, up when I can see Robben Island. And you're not really supposed to see that with a normal camera phone, can you? But I can, so I'll take that in December as well.
Is Nathan still on the line, or is he working?
He's playing, remember?
This was on yesterday's show. His terrestrial refraction, slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena holographic projection from behind the curve that you can't see.
Yeah, that's reality.
I had to write it down. It's so good.
You, quite a few words.
Slightly looming, non-standard refraction, hyena. I just want to know why he brought the hyena bit in, because it's really
It's,
good.
it's because we laugh at the end.
It's really good. Holographic projection. As he's working on his projection screen right now as I speak.
I think this is a good conversation for a lighthearted Friday, going into the weekend, having this kind of lighthearted stuff. I think it's good.
Yeah, Flat Earth Friday.
Relaxing on a non-motion plane.
An apparent moment of peace.
Until thunder strikes, and there's a glober. You think Reds will ever come on, yeah?
I don't know enough about Reds to comment. Why would he not?
I think he's too scared.
Well, the other day
he's always begging R, so you'll have to
Yeah.
explain where he gets it from with validation, and he can't.
we never get official people who represent anything come on the show. That's for sure.
Yeah, mostly the trolls.
Yeah, because they can be sacrificed, and
Yeah.
they don't speak for authority or like no one from NASA is ever going to come on the show. But, oh well.
Nothing's
I
coming
did
to
learn.
mind. Yeah.
So I had a conversation this morning with somebody, and kind of got. I was up early. I was up at 5 o'clock my time, so really early on 10th man's time. But after leaving the conversation, I did learn something about the dynamic of things, because he basically said he is a leader in a church, but he defers to other people in their decision. So I thought to myself, I wonder if that's what happens a lot in most things. Like, well, they know better, and we'll just defer to their judgment. You know what I mean? And I think we see that a lot. Instead of questioning something, or if that person is making the right judgment, you just defer to that judgment because,
So,
well, they're in that position. You understand what I'm driving at? And I
yeah,
wonder
so
how
they
often
just
that happens.
so they just follow blindly and just parrot because they just accept it instead of doing it for themselves.
Right. And the question I brought up to him, he's elder in a church. I was like, and 10th man will understand some of this. I'm not sure where you're standing, Flexoid, but I asked the question, I was like, how do you vet a prophet? Like when somebody comes in and wants to speak the truth and needs to speak the truth, what are the church's process in doing that? And he admitted that that's a hard thing to do. You know, I was like, well, the reason it's hard is because you're deferring to other people's judgment, you know?
Yeah.
And so, or you're thinking, well, we don't know, so we're just going to let it go, or we're just not going to focus on it. We have other priorities, you know? And that's ultimately what it comes down to. But that can apply to other areas. Like, go ahead.
They need a standard, and the standard is the Word of God, and it defines what a prophet is. So rather than keeping to the standard, they defer to consensus. And what I remember, Margaret Thatcher, Prime Minister of England at one time, not England, but Great Britain, said was consensus negates leadership. Consensus negates leadership. Yeah, and think about that. You got 10 people, and then you're the leader, but you won't do it because you're worried about what the 10 people think.
Exactly. I mean, that's why with a lot of, how can I say, with Christians try and take the flat earth to a church, the pastor just wants to dismiss it because they're scared of what everybody's going to think if he has to start.
Exactly.
How flat earth.
Yeah, it's perfect, even though it's written all over the pages of the scripture.
Exactly.
I just got a quick mic check from Discord.
Yeah?
Can you hear me, Righteous Force? Are you there? Anybody in Discord?
I'm here, Nathan. I'm here.
That wasn't Discord.
No. No, Discord's always quiet.
Maybe if I
I thought
refresh.
I thought I saw Righteous on the Hangouts for a second or so. Must have gone.
Try that again.
Maybe he's in another live chat or something.
Hold, guys in Google. I just want to sound check Discord.
If you want me to, Nathan, I'll jump into Discord and see if you can hear me in there.
Yeah, that'd be good. Right, I think FE Batman's trying to say something, but I can't hear him. Definitely talking, but I can't hear him. Try refreshing it once more. Try and say something. Anybody in Discord?
Did you hear me? I was saying something in there. Could you see me in Discord? Hear me in Discord at all?
Yeah, there's nothing coming through. I'm just going to have a quick look at my settings, see if I can figure out what's wrong. Doesn't look like anything's wrong.
Will it help to refresh like you did the other day?
Righteous just showed up on Hangout.
Yeah, you jinxed yourself, Nathan.
What, sorry?
I said you jinxed yourself. That something's gonna go wrong because you got everything working now.
Yeah, this is it, isn't it? It's 1 minute before the show's due to start. Set up correctly, though. Everything looks good.
Will it help to refresh?
I have done. I've refreshed live stream twice. It just didn't do anything. Maybe if I leave, try that. It's and live show's just going to have to be a minute or two late. I can't start without a live link.
Yeah. Righteous, how's it going?
It's going. I'm just kind of, I don't know. It's just going. I was kind of hiding in Discord. I didn't want to talk much.
Can you try again? Anybody in Discord? Can you say something? Damn. Ah, I see what's happened.
Do tell, do tell.
Hello, anybody in Discord?
FE Batman to the rescue.
Yep, we hear you. Can you hear us?
We can hear you.
Can you hear us? Excellent. Okay, let's just see when I click on X if that keeps those settings. Can someone else in Discord just say one more thing?
We can pretend to hear you.
Very clever. Okay, I think that's it. I think we've fixed the problem. What had happened is by plugging in the projector, it added another sound source to the computer, and for some reason, Discord went, "I'll have that. Yes, please. I'll come out of the projector." 'Cause it's got a little speaker on it.
See? I told Righteous it was the projector's fault.
It was. It was absolutely the projector's fault.
The globe. I didn't get a notification. Are you live on YouTube, Nathan?
No, I will be in about 30 seconds though.
Is that a
Okay,
refraction
that's
hyena
fine.
holographic projection problem?
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely all join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't... No, not about the shape of the Earth. I've got to get that right. To express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, how dare you? Then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, Paul, Righteous Force, Flatzoid and Arwin in the Google Plus Hangouts. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Good morning.
We're also joined by, let's have a look. We've got FE Batman, Righteous Force again, and lots of other names that are too small for me to read. Good to have you all from Discord.
New projector.
Good evening, all.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Before we kick off, 2 points. If anyone can know the cause of the effect that happened with Brenda's outburst, that would be interesting to know the cause of that effect. And Arwin, Nathan, is very upset with you and John for not including him in Ballbusters. He feels rather left out.
Let's get that after housekeeping, right?
Excuse me, wanker. What did I tell you about
stop.
trying to defend?
We've been live for about
shithead?
1 minute. Housekeeping.
Good morning,
That's
everybody.
what housekeeping's for.
Good morning,
Get out
Chapter.
of the way any actual issues that deal directly with the subject we're going to be debating about. That's why we have it. I was pausing, waiting for someone else to kick it off. That was it.
Okay. Any scientific evidence for gravity?
Perfect. Thank you, Flatzoid. Scientific evidence of what?
Gravity, what's that?
Here it's heavy, man.
There's 10th
James
man
Man, you're
dropping
sure.
in and out. Feel free on Discord. Any evidence scientific of a
Can
gravity?
everybody hear me?
We hear
Yep.
you. Hey,
Yes.
Chocolate.
Cool.
No, but I'll answer the
Oh,
well, we haven't
not
got there
answer.
yet, but I'll answer
Ask.
the gas
Ask.
pressure
Ask.
without a container.
Okay. Any evidence of that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container?
Nope.
No,
Not-
Well, I
not
brought it
in
up
reality.
yesterday. I brought it up yesterday. Paul's message, and so I asked Paul, please elaborate on your meaning of gas pressure without a container, and how he's described it to me is as follows. So you have a cubic area, an area of molecules, particles, and
Hold on a second, Spurs.
when the
Can you
molecule-
mute in the Hangout if you're not talking? Thank you. Carry on, Spurs.
Yeah, it would be great if actually Paul could join and explain this himself, but I'll have a go. Like I say, so he explained to me, imagine an area in the atmosphere, a cubic area, and there is molecules passing through this. If we were to isolate this cubic area, you would have pressure going back and forth through that area, so to speak. So I think he described it like a picture frame just in the middle of the room. Between that area of the picture frame, you have gas, which you think is pressurized, and therefore you have, in that particular area, you have pressurized gas without a container. But that's how he explained it to me. But that's called momentum flux, going from side to side, and you don't need a container for that.
Oh, really? Where did you get the gas pressure from in the first instance in that example?
Where does the gas? What, we don't need to know that, do we?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Where did it come from? To start with, you've got gas that's at pressure. So where did that come from?
But this is what I was saying. We don't need to know that, because Paul said to me.
Oh yeah, we do. Do you want to know why we do, Spurs? Do you want to know why? Because there's a positive assertion made by fundamentalist religious zealots who believe they live on a sphere that the sky is a vacuum. Given that that is the current positive assertion in regards to our world, I would immediately ask, where did you get that gas pressure from in the first instance? For that example.
It's not where did it come from.
Yeah, it is.
But if we understand that a cubic area, a square area, there's gas in that area, and we work within that area.
Where did it come from? Where did it come from to begin with?
Came from the other area.
Really?
Next to it.
Sounds like Zanuck saying about the stuff above pressing on the stuff below.
No. If you're asking again, if you have a picture frame in the middle of the room, and air molecules are passing through that frame,
from a different area.
You'll say, where did that come from?
Separate the areas.
The other area.
Hold on, Spurs. Go on, Chocolate.
The other area.
Hold on, Spurs. You've got a question being put to you. Go on, Chocolate.
You said the gas coming from a different area going to that area. Well, what would separate the areas?
We call it an area, a cubic. We made that area by labeling it per cubic area. This is the amount of pressure.
Right.
Yeah?
But you're saying some gas came from some area to another area. There's no separation, then it's just one area, right?
Yeah, well, that's what we're saying. When you have a container, how do you measure? It's per area. So
yeah,
that you're making up areas inside your container then. Yeah?
So what's this container that gives you the gas pressure to begin with then? What's this container you're talking about?
I don't know, but I'm saying that in this area, there is gas pressure in this cubic square area. No container. Remember, we created that square, that cube. So we have a cube, and we're going to say there is an amount of particles in this area. We can make that area larger or smaller. But in this area that we decided to put words, we put words to this situation. We called it an area. And we say in this area, there are so many particles, right?
Go on, Spurs.
Yeah, that's it basically. So we create the area. We can say in the center of a room, we can have a cubic square area, and we can say there are so many particles in this area. Now, where do they come from? The area next to it. Where do they come from? The area next to it. And then you can continue until you find, well, where did it come from, right?
Well, why do
if you're asking the question,
if you're talking about gas.
Hold on, don't Spurs is getting to a conclusion. And
with momentum flux, if you focus on one area, you can have gas pressure without a container.
Well, where did it come from in the first place?
It depends how you
hold on, we're back to the beginning. So where did it come from in the first place?
Where does the gas come from in the first place?
No, where did the pressure come from? Where did the pressure come from?
Where did okay, so how I understand it, the sun heats the ground up, the molecules rise, and they go into an area. Yes? So you have water, and you have the ground, you have trees, you have grass, plants, whatever. And when those molecules rise, they go into an area, and I could choose one area and say, look, here is a particular area. I can count, because you think they bounce like tennis balls.
No idea. Spurs, you have no idea what you're saying. I think before you come on here, you need to think about what you're saying and then say it. Because you're absolutely going round in circles and you're just talking nonsense.
It will sound like that at first. Again, it's like the flat Earth. It's like when you the first time and then...
No, flat Earth's really obvious.
Yeah, I mean, I can
it sounds like absolute nonsense. Think about what you're saying.
It does.
Think about what you're saying first, and then come back.
It sounds so bizarre. It's like hearing the Earth back the first time.
Hold on a second, Spurs. Hold on. What's your name, the other guy? Hold on, Spurs.
For months. This has been going on for months. You're going round and round in circles, and there's no progress at all.
Okay.
Hold
on, Spurs. Is there any other further objections other than the fact that this is getting repetitive? Okay, carry on, Spurs.
I mean, this is
no. I still have my question from before about the area.
The first time you told somebody Earth is flat.
He didn't hear you, Chocolate. He didn't listen to that. Say again.
I still have the question about the area and how you're separating areas. If we're talking about a gas, I don't really get how you're separating that. You said you have one room and then you designate an area and then you've got gas pressure in that area because of momentum flux or something like that, which all sounds cool, but how are you separating areas if you don't have a container?
Hey, Travis. Did you understand the question?
Hello.
What?
There is no.
Do you understand his question?
Yeah, I understand. So we, Chocolate, are arbitrarily choosing an area. So it's like an imagination. You imagine.
What he's saying is it's an imaginary container. That's what he's saying.
Oh, not an imaginary
container. Well, if I'm to measure something... Spurs. Yeah? If I'm to go and get, let's say, a Tupperware tub, I can measure the unit area, can't I? How many square inches there are for stuff to press upon. And by that, I can calculate the cubic area inside that container, can't I? Right? Now, that's a physical thing that gives you an area. Now, if you're going to say, hypothetically, I take a square metre of the air in front of me, okay, take that square metre physically and give it me.
I can't.
Oh, you can't? Well, what use is this? It's just hypothetical then. Hypothetical containers that you visualise, right? So, in other words, Spurs, right, you've been talking to fundies, I can tell. And basically what they've told you is, right, in our world, we don't have a container, so we just imagine one. Hypothetical containers.
Temperature.
No. You said in a container.
That sounded a familiar voice. Who is that?
Container.
Hold on, Spurs. Who is that? Say hello again. Who just said temperature?
Or who are you talking to?
You. Who's that?
Yeah, that was me.
There he is.
Yeah. Finder Age. Like I'm Cinder, but I got banned by Quantum Eraser like 2 months ago, and now I just decided to come with another account if it's okay.
Tinder Age.
Yeah, you can separate the areas by
Sorry,
temperature.
just before we move on, did you say Tinder Age?
Finder Age.
Finder.
Right. So we've got a filthy, dirty singleton on the panel, out shagging about on Tinder. Ugh.
Well, I mean, if you don't want to use a container, you can use temperature to separate a big area from another. Obviously, you don't have much time.
No, not
right?
you.
Because the temperature will disperse.
No, he might actually believe this argument as opposed to me taking the piss. So let's hear Cinder. Hold on, Spurs. Spurs. Someone else is making your crappy positive claim. It might be in jest. We're about to find out.
But this is yesterday you were agreeing with the Ball Earther. Now the Ball Earther agrees with me. You're losing your right.
I'm asking him.
You were agreeing with the Ball Earther.
Spurs. I'm trying to clear you out the airwaves so he can repeat it and justify it and back it with a bit of cowbell. But you keep talking over him. I want to hear the rest of it. He might be on your side. Was what I was going to say.
Yeah, I'm here to be on Chemo's side. I've seen Chemo's presentation and I'm really amazed by it. I think you did a great job, Chemo. So yeah, I'm gonna argue for Chemo today.
Excellent.
And I think you can use temperature to separate certain areas.
Where is this presentation?
No rumpusing. No rumpusing, please. Go ahead.
on Renty's
Tinder.
show, you can see the presentation of chemo, temperature and pressure, the correlation, and etc. I think chemo can explain it to you way better than I could. So in order
But he
to
can't.
separate
But he can't.
areas,
He's
don't
been doing
run
this for
this thing, right?
months,
Look,
and he
look,
can't.
look.
And he can't do it.
His gap with
in
false
order to-
modesty. Look, just let him have his little false modesty moment. He's about to give his explanation, and I want to hear it. Don't rumpus him.
in order to if you don't want to separate two gas pressure states with a container, you can use temperature, for example. You can for example light a fire, and a fire has another density than the air around it, so you can, for example, light a fire big enough so you could take the average temperature of a cubic meter and compare it to the other one, so you get a temperature and a pressure differential. You don't necessarily need a container in order to do whatever you guys wanted to do, because I have to understand what you're what you're trying to do here.
I see. Is that the end?
That's what just
Tinder age.
Yeah.
That's the end. Okay. Same question I asked
Can I take
Spurs.
it?
Nah, same question I asked Spurs. Just so see if you do better than Spurs in this regard. So where'd you get the gas pressure from in the first instance to generate that differential?
I don't know. I mean, I see temperature and I see natural pressure, so I don't know. Maybe the temperature makes pressure, because when you try to cool something down to almost 0 Kelvin, which obviously 0 Kelvin is impossible because of the uncertainty principle. When you cool something really, really much down, you don't get pressure anymore. So maybe the temperature is what caused the pressure.
Okay, what's temperature?
So I'm arguing for chemo.
Yeah, what's temperature? What is it?
Movement of particles, or type of, or like has something to do with radiation.
Okay,
there
that's
are
fine.
a lot
That's
of
fine.
types of pressure.
That's fine. Movement of particles. Okay, so pressure. If you have no particles, what have you got?
You still have waves, so you still have
With no particles. No particles. How much pressure?
Electromagnetic waves.
Yeah. How much? Given that they're all moving around, right, with their temperature, and that varies with their temperature, right? What's the measurement of how much they press on something?
Depends. Like there's barometric pressure, there's PSI, there are a lot of type of.
Oh, so pressure then. Oh well, you're not on Spurs' side then, because he doesn't think that's real.
Oh.
Yeah, he thinks zero.
Spurs thinks.
He thinks at zero.
Spurs,
right,
you
when
think
we're breathing.
that
Go on. You summarise his position then. Go ahead, Tinder Age.
Sorry, Spurs. I thought you just think that the atmospheric pressure is just temperature when it comes to pressure from a man-made object, like I don't know, like blowing up a balloon. That there is pressure, or is it only due to temperature? Because I may have misunderstood you.
No, it's only
zero. When I watched your presentation.
Zero wouldn't be the lack of any particles pressing on anything. Zero is just what we experience right now when we're breathing in and out. You're at zero in Spurs world right now. Didn't you realise that, Tinder Age? Oh my, have you not picked the right religion?
I completely realized the zero part, and that we have like natural atmospheric pressure, which we can just apply a number to it. I mean, if you apply a number to zero to a total vacuum, which doesn't exist, but let's say it exists, we can apply 0 to it and then go up, but we can also go with minus if we want. It is just a scale, right? It doesn't really matter. It is just an invention of human beings.
You keep talking about this pressure thing, though. So you appreciate they're two different things, then, by the way you're describing them, because you haven't mentioned temperature once in that last 2 or 3 sentences. So you appreciate they're different things, then.
Temperature and pressure. Well, temperature is the moving of particles, and pressure is the moving of particles against a solid.
No.
So
wouldn't it be the amount it presses on something? It's kind of given away in the title.
Like the amount of collisions per second, for example, that it applies to a solid, and
Yes.
temperature is just
I
moving
see.
particles.
Applies
when it
to a
comes
solid.
to-
Applies to a solid. I understand. And
Temperature-
hold on. And you'd measure that. Hold on. Well, how would you measure such a solid? Would it be per unit area by any chance?
Like psi to my hand when I take my hand and hold it out of the car, then you have a certain psi value, right?
Right. The
For
amount
example.
that the gas presses per square inch of its container. Correct?
Well, it doesn't need a container.
Oh, well,
when
why would you be
pull-
describing
when
a
you-
per inch of something then? I'm very confused, Tinder Age. Why would you be describing a per inch value if you don't need a container? This is very contradictory. If you've got PSI value, it's describing a unit area, and you're now telling me you don't need that unit area. That's kind of contradictory, isn't it?
If I see my hand as a container, obviously, all right, then it presses against the outside
yeah?
of my container hand.
Really? How much gas can you
But it
carry in
doesn't-
your hands, Cinder? How much gas have you managed to carry around in your container hands?
If we just say oxygen, if we
Hold on.
That's
Let
the
Spurs
pressure.
in to save your bacon. Go on, Spurs.
Oh, you're missing the point, Nathan. His hand is out the window. He will feel pressure against his hand. That's the point here. How much pressure is pressing
So he
on
does
his
feel
hand?
gas pressure then. He does have the sense for it.
No, there is gas, but the only pressure is when he puts his hand out and he feels the pressure
Oh,
on his hand.
Yeah, but
Not
according
just in
to
the atmosphere.
Doc
When he's not
yeah,
in.
yeah.
That was a
So he
perfect
does have
explanation.
sensories for that.
Before this descends, sorry. Good
That
to
was
have
great,
you, Tinder.
Tinder. Well done.
Sorry, just before this descends. Good to have you, Tinder Age. Thanks. Good to have you back.
Hey,
Great.
Spurs.
Yeah,
before-
just wanted to say hello to everybody. And by the way, it doesn't for an object to experience pressure, it doesn't need to be a container. Do you agree? When you take
No. Hold on. Don't
let's say
just
a
whistle
stone,
past
a
your
rock-
question. Do we agree? Well, maybe. Can you show us that?
All right. For an object to experience
No,
pressure,
don't repeat the
in
claim.
our
Don't
atmosphere,
repeat the claim.
you take
Don't repeat the claim. Right.
Okay.
You said you agree, right?
A-
And then
a
carried on.
stone.
Don't rumpus me. You said you agree, right?
go
And
on.
then carried on talking. And I'm saying, maybe. Let's see an example. That would be an example of gas pressure without a container. Go.
That's not what I was claiming. I was claiming an object experiencing a pressure. For example, just a rock. A rock standing on a mountain, whatever, or lying around.
With you,
That
with you.
rock experiences pressure.
Yep.
The
And where
gas
did that
pressure.
and where
that
did
the rock
and,
itself is in the container.
Yeah,
right?
we're going around in circles, Tinder. Where did that pressure come from in the first place?
What I was trying to elaborate.
Relative density
no,
of
no,
equilibrium.
you're
The
saying you
pressure
can have
comes
the
from-
gas in the first place without a container, and I'm saying no until you show me that.
From an area, whatever area that pressure's in.
No.
Yeah, area of what? Sorry, area. I hear area. Well, I measure area when I've got an area to measure. So what area are we measuring?
The area you want.
Okay, so it would be the walls of a container, the necessary antecedent to have gas pressure in the first instance. I'm asking you where it comes from, and when I do, I get talked over like I'm getting talked over now, because we seem to have quite a few fundamentalist religious zealots who believe in a defiance of a law that describes entropy. Gas would want to increase entropy and fill whatever space it's got. And I'm asking you, what space? What's the unit area that you're getting the gas pressure from in the first instance? And I don't know. Well, okay, you're claiming that when we've got gas pressure to begin with, that somehow that's magic and it's just here. And I'm saying, well, how do you have that to start with? You can't just start shrinking yourself down to 1 millimeter in size, inserting yourself into a balloon and going, inside this balloon, we've got gas pressure. Oh, look, it's just increased because Spurs squeezes part of it, right? Boyle's law. And when that happens, you say, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to imagine that this unit area of imaginary space in front of me, that's how we've got the gas pressure, not addressing the fact that it seems like you're in a giant balloon. Now, that's the example I'm giving, because in that instance, the pressure came from the walls of the container and having gas press on it. Now I'm asking you the same question because you're just looking at a simple area in front of you and going, I'm going to imagine that's got a container around it and just tell you how much the pressure is in that little bit of imaginary contained area, which it's not. Where does it come from in the first place?
The temperature is the force in that area.
Didn't listen to a word. He just
I think I
rumpus the
could
shit out of
solve
every
the,
word
the,
I
the
just
whole
said.
issue with this. But I
Talking
probably
temperature over the
don't
top of
want
me. Yeah, just rumpus the crap out of me, didn't you, David? Didn't shut up for a single second to listen to my question. Where'd you get the gas pressure from in the first place? Where'd you get it from? Where did it come from?
Answer. You keep on asking. I'm trying to answer. So, you have to let me finish to get the full understanding because it's very complex.
If this is going to be a description of you just looking at the space in front of you and telling me how much pressure that's got.
Yes, that's exactly what it's going to be. Otherwise,
Let's
we
see.
wouldn't need that much
Let's see if
time.
Arwin and I are correct.
I'm not going to get to finish then. No, I'm not going to get to finish.
Is that a no?
You're just gonna
You
ask the
were
question
going to do
over and
that,
over
but now
again,
you
not
won't. And
get
you'll
the
tell us I was going to give you the answer. Yeah? But yeah, bullshit.
Yeah. Nathan, if I may, I can summarize this entire process that Sperschemo and following has been attempting for the last 2 months.
Sure.
They're basically claiming is gas pressure goes in all directions unless it becomes too cold and it just doesn't want to go there anymore. So what they suggest is that at some point it's just too cold for the gas to expand into it. That's literally what he's trying to share with you without actually filling in the content of it.
All right. No. Yeah.
So
pressure.
Nathan wants to know where does
I heard that the first time David said temperature is the container.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
That's right. But it's worth summarising, Arwin. Well done.
Where does the gas come from?
That's right. Where does it come
gas
from?
comes from?
It comes from the force of temperature.
Where did the gas come from? No. Listen to the question again. That's not the question. Where did you get the gas pressure from?
Right, so I'm trying to answer this for the 100th time.
Right, who's taking odds? Arwin and I say it's going to be a repetition of you take an arbitrary amount of space in front of you and tell you how much pressure that's got. Let's see if we're right. Gas
that is in the atmosphere comes from the sea, the ocean. The sun heats the ocean up, the water evaporates, turning the atmosphere into a gassy state. And therefore, when those gases leave the water, they press on your hand, on a rock, on a tree, on anything that you have for the gases to press on. So that's the origin of your gases. Like a kettle, when you boil your kettle, the gases will hit, the steam will hit the window, and then you have a pressure.
So you do have a pressure. So that's contrary to what you've... Hold on, you've got a glaring contradiction now, Spurs, because up until now you've said that you don't have any gas pressure, that in the atmosphere we don't experience it, that at zero we're at zero. Normally now I'm not experiencing anything pressing on me, but now you've just described gas production and how it presses on you.
No, what I'm saying is...
What you've just said is the gas gets produced by the ocean and presses on you. That's what you've just said. Completely contrary to the last 2 sodding months of this garbage.
And how can it...
Now, I'm getting annoyed, not because I agree with you, because it's contrary to your own stupid position.
No, but he actually claims it isn't gas. It's just very small
from
water droplets.
The water.
Remember?
The ocean, the sea. Now, if you think you can take a reading of that gas pressing on your hand, on the wall, then be my guest. Prove and demonstrate you can take a reading of gas pressure hitting a wall in that fashion.
You can get a barometer. How many times has Quantum Eraser said this to you? Barometer.
He hasn't demonstrated it. So be my guest and demonstrate.
I'm tired of this. Right, hands up on the panel. Who's absolutely sick to death of this nonsense?
I see a demonstration with your barometer.
Just rumpusing from the Discord server. Let's ask the normal panel. See if, yeah, it is just the Discord server rumpusing. Who's... Yeah, Arwin's got his hand up. Let's show that.
My hand is up. Hand is up. The next time, I even want to have Spurs talk about this, he better be in a DeLorean going 88 miles per hour to prove flux.
I'm sick of this. I'm absolutely sick of
Where
it.
the gas comes from. Now you need to show us how you're measuring the pressure of this gas.
Yeah, with the barometer.
I said you need to show this, not tell us. I could tell you Cavendish proves gravity. You won't accept it until I show you. Can you show me?
Sorry, I'm not providing. No, it's not going to allow this equivocation. Let's just deal with these things one at a time and quickly. No, I'm not offering scientific validity for the fact that we have gas pressure, which we absolutely do. I'm saying you can measure it with a barometer. That's not providing some scientific validity, something that doesn't exist.
Barometer.
You're making a claim. You're making a claim about pressure. So I'm saying, is this a scientific? Is it just your belief, or can you demonstrate that when the gases leave the water, you can take a pressure reading from that?
Spurs, can you breathe at the sea level?
So we're going to obfuscate and derail now. I would like to know how the pressure pushers are pressing. Are given a demonstration.
Nonsense.
Of,
I'm tired of this. I'm bored of it.
Pressing into your lungs.
This is boring. It doesn't prove anything. It's just nonsense.
This
is just dumb.
So we have a change of attitude now. It's just nonsense. Let's just go with our beliefs.
Yeah, because we've been dealing with it for 2 months. And it doesn't matter how many times we show you that heat and pressure are different things and how they work and how they operate. You're not interested. We just go round and round in circles. It's getting really tiring.
Hey,
a container, yes, heat and temperature go hand in hand.
Perfectly. The guy just a minute ago, Tinder, he explained it exactly. Bring him back on and let him explain it to you again, because I think you missed it.
You do realise that? Oh God, here we go.
Yeah, go on.
No, I was going to point out what you are and what you're doing, but
how come Tinder
for comic relief value, I'm just going to let Tinder go at it. Go ahead, Tinder.
Tinder understood it, but it stopped at where, well, Zinda, where does the gas come from? You don't even
recognise that he's taking the piss out of you. Spurs and David are so dumb that they don't realise that Tinder Age is laughing in their faces. They don't get it. But go ahead, Tinder Age. You make them believe that they are actually being supported by you. Go ahead. Do it deadpan too, so they genuinely believe you.
Let's go with the simple cause and effect thing, right? I mean, I have a container that has a certain barometric pressure, right? And in order to decrease that pressure, I'm gonna decrease the temperature. So there is a clear cause and effect relationship of pressure and temperature. So temperature is a good cause for the pressure, which we also see in our atmosphere. We see it when we go on a mountain.
That's right.
So yeah, there is. Yeah. So how do you differentiate? How does it differentiate from gas pressure and gas temperature?
Well, you can compare it to another setup.
You look at an application of Boyle's law. You look at other things that can cause the same thing. So you just apply Boyle's law, maybe reduce the size of the container and see if you get the same effect, which would kind of blow in the face of your idea that that's the sole cause.
We are talking about nature here. We are talking about our atmosphere. We are not talking about a man-made container. We are talking about nature. When it comes to man-made things, obviously we can decrease the container. I mean, maybe there is a container that holds our atmospheric pressure, and there would be a man-made cause to increase the pressure by pulling down the container, whatever material it is. Right? We could pull it down a few thousand meters towards the ground, and then we have a higher pressure if there is a container.
Yeah.
So yeah, it
seems
talking about nature, not about man.
Yeah, that would be our argument, Tinder Age, though, wouldn't it? That would be our argument. It seems like the necessary antecedent for a container would have to be in place for you to have the gas pressure that you're describing in the first instance. So yeah, that seems like a fairly reasonable logical deduction, which we, not necessarily me, but we often employ. So yeah, we would agree with that. It seems likely that there's a container according to Tinder Age. Yeah. It's the necessary antecedent to have gas pressure.
He never said that. You're putting words in his mouth. Why do you do that?
No, he started his whole statement by saying a container.
Check it out. David doesn't like that. David doesn't want him saying that the logical extraction of the necessary antecedent. I mean, it's a necessary antecedent, but that's according to David, for some reason, that's objectionable. I'm not sure why, but it is apparently objectionable to David. So maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't.
Say what he's saying.
David, he said,
It
let's
is
start
kind
by
of
decreasing.
exhausting hearing
David.
multiple people talking. Sorry, I'm gonna go on mute for a second.
Oh no, you're the top draw person to fight this argument at the moment, Tinder.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere.
Can you just
Yes.
ask first before you mute?
I'm gonna
Did you
leave
say
in 10 minutes.
container?
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
It is really hard on Discord because I feel like I hear a delay, and it is really hard to differentiate when multiple people are talking.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna stay here 10 minutes, and I'm gonna say yes. I was talking about a hypothetical container which could seal our atmosphere to the Earth. Just as an example, when we would manipulate it, we would increase the pressure, but it would still be a man-made thing, wouldn't it? If we build a container and make it smaller, obviously the pressure increases, but it's still a man-made thing. I'm talking about nature. I'm talking about our net atmosphere.
Well,
Yeah, you don't
hypothetically
live
or
in a
otherwise,
container.
I don't know of any
I say
man-made
something?
sky container. So hypothetically or otherwise is irrelevant when we're talking about antecedent-consequent relationships. The necessary antecedent to have gas pressure being a container. So you can... What did you do there? You kind of theorize that if there is one, it's going to be a man-made one. Well, no, I don't really accept that premise. I'm just talking about antecedent-consequent relationships. In this instance, gas pressure... the amount it presses per square inch. Yeah? That bit, the square inch bit, well, that bit's the container.
In a man-made container. Oh,
Not man-made, no. Yeah, I just said I'm not going to let that equivocation get through, even though there's a load of rumpusing in Discord, which stops Tinder Age from hearing anything, which is unfortunate. Yeah? But there we go. I'm not going to let it be asserted that because there's the assertion that we can demonstrate the antecedent-consequent relationship with man-made containers, that means that the sky has got a man-made container. That's a ludicrous assertion. Now, I don't know what the sky is, but I do know how an antecedent-consequent relationship works and what you need to have gas pressure. Yeah, you need the walls of a container to press upon to have pressure. That's what I know.
All right, can I jump
you're
in
right.
just real quick?
That's why there's no pressure in the atmosphere, because there's no container.
Right. No, you're
If you
dumb.
wanted- if you
No,
wanted to
you're
prove that
dumb.
Cold can actually stop
You're
gas
dumb.
pressure from getting out.
There is
Then
gas
fill a
pressure,
container with cold.
Spurs. You're just dumb and think there isn't.
How do we prove there's
Really
gas
think
pressure?
That cold
Where's
can
the
contain
demonstration
gas
of it?
pressure. Then build a container that contains gas with only cold and no physical
Spurs?
barrier.
Spurs, can I ask you a question?
You can.
Spurs? Spurs, can I ask you a question?
You can, yeah. Go for it.
Okay, at what temperature would gas become zero?
What temperature becomes zero? There is no zero.
Exactly, my point.
On you say
There's
that zero
only-
is what
there's
we're
only
experiencing in the general atmosphere. We're not experiencing any pressure. That's what you argue. So you're saying there is no zero now. What kind of doublespeak is this, Spurs?
He accidentally
You're
slipped back
confused
into
between
reality. for a second.
pressure. You're confusing between zero pressure and zero atmosphere. We're talking about pressure, remember? Pressure, zero pressure. Atmosphere,
Yeah,
yes.
it's pressure.
Atmosphere,
Pressure without a container. That's the
but
question.
there is no pressure. The gas is not pressurized. It's just there, moving around. Nothing's pressing, nothing's bouncing. It's just moving freely around, you see? And if you try to measure how much pressure is in the atmosphere, well, like I said, be my guest. Good luck.
Yeah, 14.7 psi about sea level, approximately.
No, that's what they tell us. That's according to gravity. But there is no
that's
gravity.
that's just atmospheric pressure at sea level. That's how much gas presses at sea level. It reduces as you go up.
Are you talking about gravity gases?
What the fuck are you on about? Why you want to introduce this when we talk about reality? Yeah, we do have gas pressure, Fundy. I don't know why you want to push this bloody ball rhetoric when you're here claiming to be a flat earther. Every time David pipes up, no, we do have gas pressure. At sea level, 14.7 psi is approximately what we get. It's the amount of force the gas presses with. That's what we have. Now, then the antecedent to have that in the first instance would be the walls to press upon, not gravity. I don't know why David, the claim to be flat earther, now rumpusing the living crap out of me, wants to claim that suddenly gravity's the reason.
Because he doesn't believe in a container.
That's what you're
Didn't he
saying.
say a while ago that we live in a gravity well, and now is gravity gases? Like, what?
Yeah, this is
Well,
claim
that's
to be
what,
flat
that's
earther
what,
David
Nathan, that's what
Dallas.
Nathan's got to have. His gases have to have gravity in them. So
No, they don't. They
What?
don't need gravity in them. What the bloody hell is gravity? What so you're saying in order for gases to move randomly in line with gas law and what they precisely do, and then exert force on the walls of a container, in order to have that, they need the conceptual medium of space-time to be bent? You absolute bonehead. No, they don't need that, David, you stupid man.
that's what you believe.
I don't believe that, you stupid man. I understand what gas law is, and I understand how much pressure we have at approximately sea level. That's it. You are asserting all kinds of crap. You've poisoned Spurs into believing there's no such thing as gas pressure at sea level at all. There's just bloody gas moving around randomly, which is preposterous. No, it's a pressure. It's at 14.7 psi in that arbitrary scale that we applied to it.
Right.
Okay, can I ask you a question, please? Chocolate. When the gases are evaporated from the oceans, what are they hitting? How would you get a pressure reading if they're not hitting a wall or so when they leave?
You wouldn't! You stupid bonehead. That's the point. Yeah, where'd you get the gas pressure from in the first instance? You're just paraphrasing our bloody question now and asking it to Chocolate. Yeah, right, that's my question to you, isn't it now? Where'd you get the gas pressure from in the first place? If it evaporates from the sea and then has got endless space to evacuate into, why is it becoming pressurized? Why is it 14.7 at sea level? Why is it pressure if there's nothing to press on?
Well, you tell us it's because of gravity, right?
No! You stupid misrepresenting
David,
bonehead,
are you
shill
fucking
non-flat
retarded?
earther. I don't say that.
Say that. Wow.
But how did
You're out
you
of
get
your
the
mind, David, bro.
14.7?
How did I get it? I don't know why we've got gas pressure. I don't know what it's pressing on. I'm not the one on the fundy side of this who claims things like gravity. You are. God only knows why, given that you claim to be a flat earther. But here you are telling us about gravity being needed for gas pressure. Horse shit. It isn't even true in their rhetoric of fundy sphere belief. But here you are punting it as a flat earther. What the hell?
Well, tell us how you get the 14.7s. Give us.
Oh, you're asking me what it presses on? I don't know. I don't know what the sky is. We've been lied to all our life and told that it's a bloody vacuum.
David, why are you doing this? Why are you participating here even?
We just
this
had a
weird
guy come in here and
angle?
explain it clearly to you.
All right, let's change the subject. Let's change Arwen.
No, let's not
that you left
shit,
out
let
our ball
Emo
busters
shit
and
over a
felt
point that I
not
just made
involved,
like he
that you
always
should have
does.
been
I
involved, that you
genuinely
should have
want to know
notified.
what David is doing here.
Let's move. Let's check. They're not getting all
No,
angry.
let's not.
change
Let's you shut up and let David answer.
But let's not get
Just
worked
genuinely
up.
want
You
to
know,
know.
troll
He's
versus
supposed
troll.
to be a
We'll be
flat
recording
earther,
this,
but
right, and trying to make
he doesn't have a
flat
clear
earthers look a
oversight
particular way.
over
Now,
his
look,
own
Arwen,
beliefs. So,
you were saying earlier on that you were upset that Ballbuster crew did not involve you, did not notify you, and did not include you earlier on. You thought it was going to be a live stream, you said, and how were you supposed to be involved?
What the hell is this? So, when you've been pummeled, right, with your nonsense and asking about your shillery assertions of gravity, you're going to stir the pot. That's your reaction.
Of course,
he's asking David why he's doing this, right?
What he's here to do.
Gravity, there is no gravity. Who's a
You're not asking you, Spurs. Shut up. Go ahead, Arwen. Ask David.
Yeah, David, look, I remember you even from the early days in the debate. You're always talking about the water sticking to a ball and everything. It was pretty charming at first. But what are you doing right now? What is your objective here? What are you aiming for? What are you trying to learn? What are you doing here? Because I can't figure it out anymore with everything you're saying.
I was on the up to about the first 100 shows I went on a few times, and now you're almost up to 1,000, and we've learned a lot of information between that point and today, hadn't we? I mean, you think about
I can only
Nathan's show
speak for myself, yes.
almost 1,000 shows right now, right? We go through these housekeeping questions every day, so everybody gets it.
Yeah,
But the
that's
point
not an
being
answer
is
to my
that
question, though.
that
Wait, so you were here the first 100 shows, and then almost 1,000, and you come back with temperature is the container? Cold weather is the
temperature is the
container?
force that holds the atmosphere on the Earth.
It's not.
What
Shit.
force?
How many
What?
times
But
are we going to hear
David,
this bullshit
David,
assertion from
let
David?
me just refine my question, get straight to the point. Are you here specifically to reinforce, no matter what we're talking about, that there is an outer space out there somehow that we could all go to? Is that your objective here? Because everything you argue so far, every single thing, all points to that.
It's all about what we can prove. You got to understand this. This is flat Earth
So it
is
is,
about what
isn't it?
we can
There
prove
wasn't a
as
no.
individuals, right? Individually, I look in the sky, I see no dome. I go in the sky, I feel
Right.
no
So I
gravity.
was
I've
right.
seen no proof of gravity this whole time. Every one of these numbers, like 14.7, this is a gravity number that it was given to the atmosphere because of gravity. You got to understand, these guys have put this pressure in place of this 14.7.
No, that's just an arbitrary scale that's applied to it. Yeah, it might have a load of fundy beliefs worked into the fundy scale so that they can argue that it's real just because it's in the numbering system. I don't give a crap what number you assign to pressure. We've definitely got gas pressure. Call it whatever the hell you want in terms of its number. I don't care.
We agree with you that there's gas pressure, but you don't have to have a container because temperature.
No. We definitely do have to have a container. Unless you can show me otherwise, every single example that exists has to have a container. So why I ask, how have you got the pressure in the first place, is quite crucial when you make that fundy zealot assertion that you don't need one. We do!
You just go outside and look above your head.
Oh, you go outside, look above your head and
you
realise
sound
that
like
there's
a
no
Glober,
container.
bro.
Oh, you go outside and you
That's the
appreciate
Globe
that
answer
nature
right
violates natural law. No, you don't. No, that's you and your fundy zealot, it seems, globe assertion, David. That's what it seems to me.
It doesn't seem globe to me. It seems that he's mostly focused on the space that's supposed to be out there. I think that is his objective. Doesn't really care whether it's a ball or flat. He just needs that space to be out there somehow.
No, I just don't like it when we got one set of people. We got flat earthers, like dome earthers. They say there's a dome.
Who the hell do you think you are? No, we do not make that assertion here. So you're going to give us a little position where flat earthers believe there's a dome and tell us that that's what we believe. That's the position we're in, is it, according to David Fundy? No, we don't make that assertion. You've asked us multiple times where we get the gas pressure from, and I go, I don't know. Spurs even did it, even fighting your crappy argument here, didn't he? I don't know what the sky is. I understand antecedent consequent relationships, though, and I understand how you have gas pressure. It's the pressing of the gas on the walls of a container.
Can I ask David something?
14.7 PSI demonstration.
David?
That's what we're waiting on.
What? You want a demonstration of an arbitrary numbering system? I've just demolished that by saying I don't care how you number it. There is gas pressure. It's as simple as that.
David?
So this number's not real, Nathan.
No, it's an arbitrary scale that somebody's applied. Yeah, it doesn't really matter what number you assign to it. It's arbitrary. But it still exists. We still definitely have pressure because we have gas. That's as simple as that.
David?
Where is the love, guys? I mean, again, we're trying to find the truth here. And, we don't know as much as you don't know. We don't know if it's a container. We don't know what that force is. If there is a force, we don't know, what's going on.
Your truth is that the sky container is temperature. It's total bollocks, but you will assert it ad nausea and argue about it for 2 solid months. It's a total bullshit claim made by you fundy idiots.
I think we should move on to Arwin.
Let's go on to stirring the pot of Arwin. Yeah, that's what we should do, isn't it?
David, can you hear me?
Now we're at the crescendo, where everyone's absolutely sick to death of it because everybody realises what a crock of shit this is. Yeah, let's move on to Arwin and stirring the pot.
It brings out a side of
that guy explained it to you perfectly and you didn't understand it. How come Tinder come on here, explains exactly to you, and you have no capability of understanding what he said?
David, what?
And now it's globe tactics of poison the well and ad hominem attack. So, oh right, we're all dumb and
David.
you get it, do you? No, you
Okay.
strike me as a fundamentally retarded moron. That's what you strike me as. So you telling me I don't understand it, David, doesn't really wash here very much. I've got to be honest.
David, can I ask you a question? And it's going to show you contradicting yourself 100%. Do you believe in gravity?
How do you figure?
Do you believe in gravity?
I do not believe in gravity as is
There we go.
stated,
So how do
no.
you believe in space without gravity? There can't be space without gravity. Hello?
Why would you think that? Go outside and look above your head. There's plenty of space up there.
He's just said he doesn't believe in gravity twice on this
But
show.
even-
It's
Wait.
been detailed that he talks about gravity wells and he talks about gas pressure needing to be here because of gravity. Yet now he's saying he doesn't believe in gravity, even though it's used as part and parcel of his examples in the defiance of any scientific evidence for any gravity.
Point made.
The people that believe that we live on a spinning ball
Kudos.
flying through outer space believe in.
Yeah, shut up,
do you,
David.
do you
Kudos,
believe
Flatzoid. Well
that
done.
space you see up there is a vacuum?
Kudos, Flatzoid. Excellent. Well demonstrated.
Okay, what is the third option? The third option is temperature controls all this atmosphere around us. I mean, and then you have to figure it out from there.
Yeah, temperature and pressure are intrinsically linked. As you increase the energy of the gas particles, they'll collide more often, creating more pressure when they collide with the walls of a container.
And then they'll hit cold, and they'll decrease, and then they'll hit hot, and they'll move from area to area. There is no container. That's all.
That's just a fundy assertion. No, that's a necessary antecedent. You need a container to have gas pressure in the first instance. That's why when I say, where'd you get the gas pressure from, you assert some nonsense about cold being a container, with no demonstration or validity or cowbell offered whatsoever to this bullshit assertion that we've heard for 2 months and are tired of.
Well, we're about done with it. We've got a formula now. We're going to have it peer reviewed, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Do you know what we would? Do you know what we'd take, David? We'd take scientific evidence. We'd take scientific evidence. That's what we'd take. Not peer review, not your formula, not mathematics, and not the words and agreement of a fellow man. He's not going to let me take this little crap apart. We're not interested in peer review here. We couldn't give a crap if there's a consensus on the matter. We also don't give a crap if you've got a mathematical formula for your total bullshit. We're interested in scientific validity. So we'd like you to provide 2 things. Scientific evidence of gravity, which you both don't believe in and use in some of your examples for temperature being pressure or something like that. I don't know. It's still total bollocks. But you can provide us with some scientific evidence of your bullshit claim that you don't need a container. And that's what we'll accept. Scientific evidence, not mathematics and consensus.
Hey, David,
All right,
real quick, I
then,
got a
get back to
question for
Arwen. What? Timo was wanting to talk to Arwen. Go ahead.
He just wants to stir the pot.
Paul, say what you
And
got to say,
about,
Paul.
you got to remember, Brenda
David,
stirred
Paul
the
wants
pot
to say
last night if
something.
you didn't listen
David,
to it.
Paul wants to say something.
David, I saw your formula yesterday on Ranty's show. Okay, you said a force over a negative force. How do you have a negative force? Define what force is.
You can have a negative temperature, correct?
No, you can't reach absolute
No.
zero in terms of the amount of energy. The amount that it moves, the energy that each particle has, that would be how it's defined in terms of temperature. And it never slows down to zero, absolute zero being that scale in terms of the amount of movement that those particles have. Well, no,
Yeah,
you
it
don't
never gets
reach.
knocked
No,
off.
you don't reach zero. You definitely don't go into minus numbers in that regard.
You can't have
But
a
you could
negative
go-
heat
you
value,
could go
and you can't have a
infinitely.
negative
You could
force
go-
value, and you can't have a negative energy value.
But you can have a negative temperature value, right?
No. Did you not listen to a word I said, you stupid moron? No.
Gosh.
You do not go into minus. You can't even reach zero. You can't get to absolute zero in terms of the amount of energy that the actual particles have. They're always moving to a small degree. No
Yeah, by
minus
man,
numbers.
right?
Wrong.
You don't know in
You
nature
are
that that's
David,
true.
Kelvin and
fundamentally
Celsius are
wrong,
just
David.
Man-
Incorrect.
a man-made
But
machine
won't shut
cannot-
up. You are fundamentally wrong, David. And you're moronic.
Cannot reach absolute zero. We already understand that.
Right, so no minuses then. Stupid
No
idiot.
minuses.
No, you go below. Right now, just in our temperature scale right now, we have...
So no minuses then, contrary to your stupid claim that's just been crapped all over by Paul. Not a load of rumpusing. No, that's right, Nathan and Paul. Yeah, I'm dumb. I think you can go into 0 and then beyond into minus. When you can't, I'm just wrong. That's what we want to hear, not you Discord server muting everybody by rumpusing the crap out of it.
With the current system we use right now,
So no minuses then. Let's do it again. See if he just rumpuses. No minus then, David. Contrary to your bullshit maths that you've made up.
Right now, with our current system, do we have temperatures below freezing? Yes or no?
Oh, below freezing? What, the phase change of water specifically? What, you're going to tie this to your water bullshit that we had a month ago now, are you?
He's using Celsius because Celsius is an arbitrary measurement of temperature based on specifically the freezing point and the boiling point and difference between water to get a 0 to 100 in order to establish that measuring.
But here,
David,
let me.
you know what North Kelvin is?
Here's
You know
the
what North
problem.
Kelvin
Go ahead, Floyd. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
is? No, it's fine. I just want to ask him if he knows what North Kelvin is, because if you can show me in nature where we get minus 270 degrees Celsius, I'll flip and go and fly over to him and give him a handshake.
And with that, I'll say if you want to watch the continuation of this conversation, then you need to subscribe. No, you don't. This isn't... Where are we? We're live, aren't we, on Nathan Oakley? Yes, just get my head around what channel we're on. So if you want to watch the continuation of this, then you need to subscribe to Nathan Oakley 1980, because unfortunately this is where we bid the live audience on Nathan Oakley farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who tuned in live. Hopefully smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley. A massive thank you to all of today's debating panel, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay tuned if you are watching on Nathan Oakley 1980.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Conversation should be about heat, not temperature. Heat is the amount of kinetic energy in a substance, and also there's the kinetic energy is about the ability to do work, and a force is something that's acting to cause something to occur, like me pushing my thing. So all those factors are in play. You cannot have a negative value in any of those. So you're going to have to address that. I think even in that balloon example that I've seen on there many times, you have the atmospheric pressure, that is the force of the atmospheric pressure overcoming the less pressure inside the balloon, causing it to collapse. That's what's causing it. A stronger force can overcome a weaker force.
You've got to remember, all the information that you've ever been told is the balloon will increase in size as you go up in altitude because of pressure, right?
Do you know why? Do you know why?
Chemo and I have both showed you
Hold
that
on, just for
one
clarity.
demonstration
What kind of
proves
balloon?
that wrong, right? We have a demonstration
What kind of
that
balloon?
proves
What kind of balloon?
temperature is the force.
What kind of
You
balloon?
understand that, right?
What kind of balloon?
You guys hear me?
What kind of balloon? What kind of balloon will increase as you increase your altitude? What kind of balloon will increase in size?
You haven't even got anybody to be able to prove that stuff.
What kind of
increases
balloon will increase in size? What would be the contents of that balloon? What kind of balloon? Let's see if he ignores me a second time.
I don't care what gas you put in it.
You don't. So what happens
What
if you just
kind of
put,
balloon?
What happens if you just put air in it?
It'll shrink just like any other balloon will.
Oh, so it won't increase like you just declared then. So you take a balloon up and it increases as you go up. I ask what kind of balloon. You say it doesn't matter. I say air. And then you say the completely contrapositive. The total opposite of what you just said.
Nathan, I don't want to argue with you about it. We have...
Yeah, you better not want to argue with me because you're a fucking retard. And you'll lose quick sharp like you do every time you come here, you fucking moron. Yeah. It's done the complete opposite of what you said, you fucking moron. Yeah? You gonna address that, you double-speaking shit for brains?
A balloon will shrink in size.
Yeah, the complete fucking opposite of what you said 2 minutes ago, you stupid spastic.
About what? I must have missed what you said, not heard it or something.
You said it will increase in size as you increase in altitude. Now you're saying the complete opposite.
That is what we're told. That's what you believe.
What? The complete two different things happening? What? This complete doublespeak, that's what you think I believe? No, this is the rabblings of a complete shit for brains. I don't believe a word you say. You're a moron.
Do you believe balloons will expand?
Do I believe balloons will expand? What kind of stupid, non sequitur, malformed, non-complete question is this?
Do you believe a balloon that floats up in the atmosphere expands and pops?
It depends on what's in the bloody balloon, you stupid man. Wasn't that made clear when I said what kind of balloon? You whistle past it, I asked it again, and then I put air in the balloon and it did the opposite of what you asserted.
Gas you put in the balloon. I don't care what gas you put in the balloon.
Yeah, well, it makes a massive difference to what happens to the balloon, you stupid buffoon. That's why I asked for clarity. It makes all the difference, you stupid man.
What did you think it matters if there's helium or regular air or whatever in there, right?
Yeah, regular air will just decrease. It'll shrink as you move up. Yeah? It's just as simple as that. Or it might stay exactly the same, depends on the thickness of the container. Now helium, on the other hand, light gas, will increase as you go up in altitude as the pressure of the atmosphere decreases. So yeah, it makes a massive difference what gas is in that balloon.
Paul believes that all these people...
I don't give a shit what you're going to now strawman with me what Paul believes. I'm trying to get to the point where you recognise that you're a double-speaking shit for brains, and you've just asserted two completely contrary positions within 2 minutes of each other, and then told me that I don't understand and it's my belief.
So I was stating that current belief is that balloons increase in size as you go up a mountain. They will increase in size. That's what all these guys are fighting the argument of. Okay, there is no proof of this. That's the whole point. Is that just even the ability for people to reason what a balloon will do as you go up? They can't even even concept that it would shrink because of temperature. Give me a break.
You're not doing so well with your peer review right now.
Yeah. Have you ever gone up a mountain with your chips?
Let's break
Get
this down
Babs in here.
really simple.
Babs knows the conversation. Come in here, Babs.
Okay, let's break this down really simple. Okay, you said temperature. Let's talk about temperature. You know, you got to define terms. It's got to be very simple and basic. I've got the definition for temperature on screen. This is the degree or intensity of heat present in a substance. So temperature is a degree, okay? But it talks about this little thing called heat. What's heat? Heat's important. Let's define heat. Heat is a transfer energy that results from a difference in temperature between a system and its surroundings. So it's a transfer of energy, right? What's energy? You want to go to the next step and find out what energy is?
I feel like I'm having an acid flashback every day for the last week.
I know.
You yourself, everything has a temperature, right? Every single solid piece of matter, any solid piece of matter that you can look at or touch or have in your hands or anything that you can acknowledge has a temperature to it, correct? Whether it's cold or hot, if it's below freezing or not.
Temperature? Do you agree with my definition of
temperature? Temperature is the difference between hot and cold, man.
The degree or intensity of heat present in a substance.
Right.
That's temperature.
Which is temperature is when something, everything has a temperature. Would you agree with that?
I just said I agree. Tell me what heat is. Tell me, because it's talking about the intensity of heat present in a substance. So actually, we need to define what heat is. David, tell me what heat is.
Heat is anything over absolute zero.
Temperature is the transfer of energy. That's what the heat is.
Heat is any substance that's above absolute zero has heat in it.
Okay, what's energy?
Energy is work.
Oh, okay, that's good. I'm glad you understand that. So heat is the amount of energy amount of energy that's going on inside of a substance. So these substances are making some kind of.
Right?
Hang on,
Temperature is
David.
the
David,
gauge.
I have not paused and
Use
said I've not
temperature as a
paused.
gauge.
I have not paused, David. I have not paused. Okay, I will tell you and see if you agree with me, and we'll take the next step. Okay, so heat is the amount of work of this substance that's occurring. So they're kind of moving, they're doing something, they're interacting with each other. That something's going on. Would you agree with that?
Yes, and we call it temperature. Yes.
No, we've already talked about it. Temperature is the intensity of heat.
Right.
So we talked about
heat
there's
is
energy.
work.
Heat is
You
energy.
can't have
Energy is about
temperature
moving.
without work. Right.
We're breaking this down basically. Okay, so we're trying to walk through this. I mean, this is first grade science class. Okay, energy is the ability to do work, and you need energy to have a force. Would you agree?
You have to have a temperature to have a force. Right.
I said no. You had to have energy to have a force.
Yeah, you can't have energy without temperature.
Okay, so if these particles are moving, they have energy, and they're creating work, so to speak. Now, when they hit this thing, the sides of a container or
Well, they only do work dependent on how much temperature they have. Right. The more temperature, the higher the temperature, the more work. The higher the temperature, the more work can be produced out of that area. Right.
We're not disagreeing. So if you have more energy, you have more heat, you can do more work, and actually you can have more force as well. It's a proportional thing. More kinetic energy, more heat, more force. Less heat, less energy, less force. Would you agree with that?
Because anything you go below freezing, once you go below freezing with water,
No. We need to agree.
We have states of matter on this planet, right? We have solids, liquids, and gases on this planet.
Not on a planet.
Just agree with what I just said, or disagree.
Not on a planet. He's just claims to be a flat earther. He's saying on this planet.
Is subject to temperature, right? That's why we have a temperature scale to begin with, right? That's why we have a negative temperature.
Disagree with what I just said, David?
Because you can never reach absolute zero.
He's just going to obfuscate the crap out of you. Do you want to make your summary anyways? You've lost him. He's just reached the point where he won't give you any consensus or agreement on what you're trying to take him through step by step. He just won't do it.
I know. Well, let's talk about this so-called balloon that's up there. Okay? As you increase the temperature, you're increasing the work that those particles can do inside the container. They're going to increase pressure inside that container because they're pushing. They're creating more force inside of that container. When that force when the external pressure exceeds the internal pressure, that's why the balloon collapses. It's proportional.
Right. You mean the temperature, not the pressure on the outside, because there is no pressure on the outside.
We've already described what temperature and heat is.
Spurs have been saying all this time. You need to prove you're outside of the balloon pressure. You have not done it. You give us this, and even Nathan admits it's an arbitrary number that is man-made from the gravity formula of atmospheric pressure. That's where your current atmospheric pressure comes from, is the gravity formula for atmospheric pressure. So why won't you acknowledge that?
David, I have not so far talked about any numbers. I've not talked about any man-made devices. All I'm talking about is what occurs in nature, what we see. You have to have more energy to overcome. Okay, I need more energy to overcome the mass of an object. Like, I can go out and push on my car because I'm not exerting enough energy or force on that. The car will not move. But I can crank up the engine, and it would create enough force and energy to move my vehicle. Each substance in this world requires either more energy or more energy to move it. Different substances need less energy to move it. Gases need less energy than solid objects do, or liquids do.
And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you tuned in on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. A massive thank you also to all of today's debating panel for making this after show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!